Welcome back. It's time to think about pruning. Tomorrow-ish, we'll start thinking about pruning. Maury Hick joining us from Art Nap. It's great to have you back on the show.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
These are really sharp, apparently.
They are. They're the best pruners you can buy.
Oh, watch me cut my hair.
Yeah, you know what? They have scissors for cutting hair too.
Oh, really? It's a good company then.
Yeah, Felco. I think everybody. It's Swiss made, so everybody knows that. But
So give us some tips on there's two really good times to prune, right? In the fall and in the spring.
Correct.
So
depending what you're pruning.
Okay, well, tell me a little bit about
Well, I have a rule. It's a real easy rule.
Okay.
It's called the lilac rule. So anything that flowers before the lilac, including the lilac, you prune after it flowers. So if you went out there today, even as cold as it's been, and you look at a lilac, you'll see the buds sitting there. So if you go out there, like most men get all excited. They're like, oh, I got to go prune something because my neighbor is pruning.
Right.
You know
Hold off.
Hold off. Know what you're pruning. If you don't know what you're pruning, take a little sample of it, bring it to the store. We can tell you what it is, right? But that's the easiest rule. If it flowers early, including the lilac, before the lilac, you prune it after it flowers. And anything that flowers after the lilac, like in the summertime and that, you prune really hard right now for most rules.
Okay.
Yeah, there's exceptions. And then everybody has fruit trees nowadays, right? Because they want to grow local. And you should be out there kind of getting ready to prune now. And knowing what you're doing with that.
Even with the snow out there?
Even with the snow. Yeah, it's you keep telling me it's going to warm up. I watch you every night, you're going to tell me it's warming up. So yes, you can go and prune your fruit trees right now. We're not going to drop to such -20 and have a fresh wound of a prune out there to kill it back more.
Okay.
So yes, you can go out there, prune your fruit trees. You have to know the varieties, and each pruning of a fruit tree is done differently. So you know what? Come into the store, bring some pictures is the best thing, and we'll show you where to prune, how to prune it, because everything will produce fruit on a different part of the branch.
Sure.
So some things you prune real heavy, like a peach tree. Like if you took a picture of a peach tree today and pruned it properly, 60% of it's going to be gone, right?
Wow.
Yeah.
So the way you prune has a massive impact on how much fruit is yielded. Is that correct?
Yep. And because if you prune really hard, and the fruit is produced in the middle branch, 1/3 of or the 2/3 of the branch.
Yes.
And you prune into that, obviously you're going to have less fruit.
Okay.
So yeah, it's really dependent. It gets a little tricky. It seems a little overwhelming, but there's some real basic rules. The easiest ones are apples and pears.
Yes.
You know, they produce for years and years and years on little spurs. You keep those, but yeah.
Okay.
The worst thing to do is do the little haircut thing. If you're not sure what to do, everybody does this. They do, I don't know, so they take a little bit, right?
Right.
And it creates that moose antler thing, right?
Sure.
And it's just a nightmare.
Right.
So don't do that. If you're going to prune it hard.
Okay, so don't be afraid to go in and ask for advice. I know that I've come into you guys to talk. I've pruned a few things and it's gone sideways for me. One thing I've pruned and I don't really know what I'm doing, but it's always come back beautifully, is a rose bush. I had one on like sort of the side, it sort of crept along the side of my, the side of my house on a trellis, but it seems like they're hard to kill.
They are, and most roses, and especially if you have a prairie hardy rose.
It must have been.
Yeah, and you did the right thing. If you pruned it really hard, it came back, it flowered, so it flowered on new wood. If you pruned it really hard and you got no flowers, it's not because I sold you the wrong flowering rose. It's because you pruned it at the wrong time and it flowered on old wood, which means you prune it after.
Okay, this rose came with the house. I didn't buy it from you guys. But
and
no,
most of those are super tough. They're grandma tough.
Grandma tough. What is this?
Tough. Well, this is with all the restrictions on pesticides and that, and Kamloops going more organic. This is your #1 spray, both in the spring and in the fall.
Okay.
Most people know it. It's dormant oil. Everybody thinks, okay, that's for fruit trees, right? So it's a dormant oil, lime sulfur, which dormant oil is your insecticide. Organic. It's an oil. It coats everything. The lime sulfur is your fungicide, all natural occurring. So that is the best, but like I mentioned, everybody says, oh, that's for fruit trees. You can do it on all, like roses, for example. Roses get black spot, powdery mildew, all that.
Yeah.
The fungicide will coat that. Any eggs from aphids and that, the oil coats the eggs and reduces them out. So that's really important. Obviously, that one's a little early.
Yes.
Until you tell me it's going to be above 0. Then you can go and spray that. So, but that is your first one, and everybody should be kind of aware of that.
Okay.
So. And you're going to ask me when? Aren't you going to ask me when?
Yes, when?
It'll be different throughout Kamloops.
Of course.
Yeah.
So we have such an elevationally challenged, right?
Exactly.
Go and find out what zone you're in, what are the right times.
But that one's easy. There's a little rule for that.
Yeah.
what we call from half-inch green to bud, from bud swell to half-inch green.
Okay.
So the bud can't be any bigger than a half an inch.
Okay.
Or else you gum it up and it won't flower for you.
Nobody wants to gum it
No,
up, right?
they don't. So that's important.
Okay, so the good news is we are looking at a possible pruning scenario for people as early as this weekend, Maury.
there you go.
Today we've got a couple of systems we're fighting with. It's going to cause a little bit of not very nice weather this afternoon into tomorrow morning. By tomorrow afternoon, prune away. It's going to be sunny. It's going to be lovely. The
Without
melt
the
is
chainsaw,
on.
though. Don't bring out the chainsaw.
I put that away
Okay.
after I took somebody's arm off. I felt badly.
Men like the chainsaw thing. I just
Do some
don't know.
people prune with chainsaws?
Yes, all the time. That's why I said don't use a chainsaw.
I thought you were joking.
No, I'm serious.
Okay, yeah, maybe not a good idea.
Chainsaw is not a pruner.
Yeah, that's not detail oriented at all.
No, not at all.
All right, Maury Hick, you're a professional pruner. If you have questions, phone them, or even better yet, go in. They know their stuff. They can help make sure that you are doing the right job with your plants and bushes this year. ArtNap, Kamloops.ca. We're back after a quick break. Stay with us.